Have you ever gotten high with your friends and then talked about what you would do if you won the lottery? That's what you're looking at with this blue line right here. This is Donald Trump's imaginary, we won the lottery, so we're going to do all these great things. You're looking at the Ministry of Truth's projection for the economy. But the Ministry of Truth lies all the time. How bad is the bill? An answer in 10 charts. I love charts. Let's look at some charts. With unusual speed and despite an armada of controversial provisions, Congress has birthed a sprawling, nearly 900-page policy bill stuffed with hundreds of changes that will bestow trillions of tax cuts on the rich and special interests while slicing deeply into social programs relied on by millions of Americans. Our rich keep getting richer. The impact on the deficit over 10 years. Make tax rate cuts permanent. This is the big thing that he wanted. This is the number one thing. The reason that the Republicans passed this big busted bill is because they want the tax cuts to the wealthy. That is their job. They don't exist to help you. Republicans don't exist to make your life better. No, they're not there to run a government. No, they are there to corral the government, to stifle the government, to knock the government down on its ass and make it stop charging people taxes. That is their entire purpose for existence. That is what they do. That is why they are there. That is what they are paid to do. Cut those damn taxes. And if it hurts American people, they don't care. If it starves American people, they don't care. If it kicks them out of their own jobs, they don't care. Cut those damn taxes, and the wealthy people will pay you. That is what they exist for, and that is what they have done. Increase the standard deduction. Again, most people, this one might go to some upper class people, not the billionaires, and some of the middle class, it might go to them. Some of this might go to them. Increase the child tax credit. So they have given, so that's a tax cut on people with children. That's fine. That's a thing that helps middle class people, but it's still much smaller than the one for the wealthy. Border and immigration spending is huge. I know it's very small compared to that, but $169 billion more dollars to ICE is going to harm a lot of people, tons of people. Military spending. So military spending is now adding to the deficit. Okay. So this isn't all the military spending. This chart is slightly dangerous because it looks like they're spending more on border immigration and military spending, but this is the increase in the impact on the deficit. So we are going into the hole deficit-wise so that we can pay for border and immigration spending. We are always doing this for the military spending. This is not new. This is not a surprise. This is like how much over they're going. No taxes on overtime, tips, and interest on loans for U.S.-made cars. This one is... It sounds populist. It really does. Shadow Pop, thanks for hopping in. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you're feeling.
The tax cut for the rich is permanent. The ICE budget makes ICE one of the most well-funded militaries in the world. BTW.
Yes, it does. They are giving them tons of money so that they can round up and harm people. They're going to build so many more concentration camps. I was calling it Alligator Alcatraz all week last week, but then a nice, I assume, progressive person on Blue Sky pointed out that the people in Alcatraz committed crimes, were put in front of a judge and a jury and had a defense lawyer, and then were sentenced. The people in Alligator Alcatraz isn't going to have all those things. Those people aren't going to have judges and lawyers and trials. No. This is Alligator Auschwitz. It's just as good a term, so we're going to call it that from now on. When I mention Alligator Auschwitz, that's what I'm talking about. The concentration camp that we have built in Florida we're going to have more of them. With all this money, we're going to get more concentration camps, more and more and more. It's going to be great. Hi, KBP. You feel present, probably because you're hungover.
They're gonna have the right to remain silent, and that's all.
Well, they might not even have that. So yeah, the tips thing sounds progressive. It sounds like you're benefiting the poor working class, but it's offset by the fact that the poor people are getting their Medicaid cut. So they're going to gain a little bit of money from no tax on their tips if they get tips. The people who get tips are usually the poorest of the poor, and those people generally have Medicaid. So you're gaining $1 on tips and you're losing thousands because you now have to pay for more of your own health care. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. Additional deductions for seniors, which again, same thing.
Everything for lower income people is temporary too.
Oh yeah, you're right, any of it. Yeah, you're right. The tax cut for the billionaires is permanent now for eternity. The the no tax on tips and this senior stuff is temporary and will go away unless the Republicans turn it into another political football, another political circus.
Hello human, it is me Kanuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
Most of our political issues, most of our problems, is with the framing and the way that these things are discussed and explained. The headlines at the news are lying to you, the Republicans are lying to you, and the Dems are slightly lying to you so that their owners, their benefactors, their lobbyists will keep paying them. They can't move to the left. They can't. The Dems have to be centrist, or else they lose all their funding. And in that scenario, we stand still. They're sponsors, yeah. The Democrats will make us stand still, and the Republicans will move us to the right. And that's all that there is to it. Age of Crocodilla, hello.
There's no visible logo on their uniforms.
Right, and they don't, nobody's paying attention. The normies aren't paying attention to who's sponsoring which person. Thanks for coming. Tell us what you think and tell us what you're feeling. We're talking about the big beautiful bill.
Depressive for morality in America, and what it stands for as Valentine's Day is for singles.
I think that's absolutely right. I was listening to the fireworks and watching them and seeing them and being like, man, yeah, we're free, kind of, but not really. It's kind of think that we're wrecked today. And we'll look at some of the sound bites from Donald Trump signing the big busted bill. Its signature and most expensive components make a slew of individual tax cuts. Instituted in 2017 that primarily benefited wealthy Americans permanent. To help pay for them, the bill makes student loans more expensive. Sorry, students and people who went to college. Sucks to be you. Guess you just have to work harder, pay more. Slashes incentives for clean energy. You know, that thing that we need to keep the planet from dying. And reduces funding for and access to Medicaid. Missing yet again, despite Mr. Trump's promises, is any effort to raise the tax rate on carried interest earnings, a major win for private equity. Private equity, we all love them, right? God, those are the vultures that buy up dying companies, sell them for parts, and then give themselves golden parachutes. It's disgusting. Private equity is a big reason for the failures of the American economy. It really is. We have given them all the power, all the authority. Investors are the parasites that are harming our economy. Not the poor people, not the immigrants, not the farm workers who are coming here from terrible, violent countries to work hard. Those people are helping your country. Those people are helping your economy. The people who are harming it are the billionaire hedge fund managers, the private equity sharks, and the parasites that are investors. They're the people ruining these things. They're the ones that killed Toys R Us and Red Lobster. So have fun with that as your companies continue to die so that they can get richer. But the bill does deliver on one of his campaign promises, serving up tax deductions, not permanently, for overtime pay, tips, and car loan interest for seniors. So here's another chart. Millions lose access to Medicaid. Hooray! Donald Trump promised and promised and promised and said that it wasn't happening. But it is. How will it reduce Medicaid spending? By work requirements. If you can't find a job, you don't get to have the Medicaid. If you had the job, if you had the ability.
Still upsetty spaghetti about Red Lobster.
I know, right? There were people last night in an abandoned Red Lobster parking lot because the place closed down, firing off fireworks. That's a mental image that just really sums up America right now, doesn't it? There's a Red Lobster. There used to be a thriving business. It has collapsed due to a bad economy. It's cinema. It really is. And it's collapsed. It's fallen apart. It's gone. It's dead. It's bankrupt. And there are Americans celebrating America in their empty parking lot, firing off fireworks. It's beautiful. It's just like that's some shit out of 1984. It really is. It's some shit out of Brave New World. It's cool. It's amazing. So yeah, work requirements, make it more difficult for states to fund Medicaid. Hooray! Let's just make it harder. Repeal rules simplifying eligibility and renewal. This is bureaucracy. The Dems wanted it to be simple to determine your eligibility and do your renewals. The Republicans have added steps, paperwork, and bureaucracy to make the poor people fail. They want it to be harder to get in. That way fewer people will be in there. That's gross and disgusting. But it's what they want. Limit payments to providers. So they're going to pay less to the doctors. So doctors, pay cut. Sorry, guys. Check Medicaid eligibility more frequently. So this is more bureaucracy. They'll hire people to try to throw people off of this program. The number of uninsured Americans will grow. We're thinking that it came down in 2014 because of Obamacare, I suspect. Then it's going to up a little bit because Donald Trump told you that Obamacare was bad and awful. Then it went down a little bit because we had a Democrat. It's going to go back up because of Republicans. They don't want good things for you. They don't want you to have stuff. They want you to work and pay taxes and then die. That is what they want for you. The biggest and most damaging cuts are those to the Medicaid cuts that got only more draconian as the bill moved from House to the Senate. About a third of the savings come from the imposition of a work requirement on recipients. While Republicans claim they are only attacking waste, fraud, and abuse, they're lying. The resulting paperwork to comply with the requirements is expected to daunt many and result in lost coverage. All told, these changes will cost over 10 million Americans their health care coverage, according to the CBO. So 10 million people, Americans, will suffer because of this bill. I don't like that. I would rather we didn't pass bills like that. The cost of college will soar. Hooray! Student loan borrowers. So so if you make money, you have to pay more. So the green is the Biden administration's plan. $20. Wait, how often do you have to pay the $20? Anyway, 62, 103, 145, 187. If you make more than $100,000, you have to pay $312 to get your college. But under the Republican plan, it's $917. So just college is more expensive. The loans more expensive. Everything involved with it more expensive. Now, the legislation largely guts the Biden administration's student debt repayment program that offered lower and middle-income families generous terms. As a result, the average monthly obligations for borrowers will surge, with a typical loan recipient with a college degree and an annual income of $80,000 paying an additional $2,900 a year. So, yeah, if you get a college degree and you get a job making $80,000 a year, which is the bare minimum for a college grad, right? You're going to pay $3,000 of that back to the college. But it would have been much less under Biden. So he's making everything more expensive. Because he hates you. He hates the people who went to college. He needs poor, dumb rubes to believe the Republican lies. If you went to college, if you learned how to think, you're more likely to recognize the horseshit, the lies, the bullshit that Donald Trump pushes on you. Climate change. Clean energy investments announced since the Inflation Reduction Act. The Republican districts spent and pending. So in Democrats. So even in the red states, we were going to give them more money to not be bad for the environment, and they hate it. They don't want it. They throw that shit away. The bill rolls back many of the clean energy tax incentives and investment created in 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, throwing a major roadblock in the way of combating climate change. They don't think it's real, so they don't need to spend money on it. Most Republican legislators are supporting this, despite the fact that a vast majority of these investments have taken place in Republican congressional districts. The red team was going to get government money to make their states less environmentally damaging, and they are throwing it away because they have a mental block about climate change. They have a ideological challenge, a hurdle they cannot get past. If they accept the money, then that means climate change is real. So they have to deny that. They won't take dollars.
It's not that they don't think it's real. It's just not profitable to do anything about it.
Well, if it was just about profit, they would take this money. If it was just about profit, they would take this money for their states.
Republicans taking a moral stance on environmental health. We don't want your filthy money. We didn't ask for your help.
I know, and it's confusing. It's difficult to be a Republican. There is a special type of backbending, twisting brain.
Dirty power
thing.
is more profitable.
It's more profitable. Well, for the moment, I would agree. But taking government money, getting government money is the
Beautiful
the
clean
job
coal.
of these House and senators. The senators use government money all the time. It's the pork. It's the kickbacks. It's the spending that they brought into their district. What's his name? The evil one. I know there's a lot of them. Mitch McConnell from Kentucky got lots and lots and lots of money to his state to like build tanks and planes and house them and shit. And we never used them. It's just a jobs program. He gets the government money, he gives it to his constituents,
LOL.
then they
Yeah,
love him.
Gotta be more specific than that XD.
So Mitch McConnell took that government money, turned it into jobs, gave it to the people to do a job that was mostly unnecessary. He was paying one guy to dig a hole, and then he was paying another guy to fill in the hole. That's what
Hello,
congressmen
I'm
should
watching
do.
on YouTube. Taking one for the team body, haha.
Well, Crash Vahi, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You can watch wherever you like, but if you want to do the text to speech, you got to be on Twitch. So I appreciate that. That's the numbers. You're doing numbers for me. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir.
TDS bois.
TTS bois. That's our new mispronounce. So I would love when the TTS lady mispronounces things. So by all means, find things that she mispronounces but are spelled properly. We like bois. Bois is the new.
Bois.
Bois is our new meme. So make her say bois. Let's see what else is on. Trump's biggest budget buster. So let's see the relative scale of Trump's domestic policy bill. So he's doing much bigger deficit spending. He just is, man. He's just adding all of this to the deficit, and he says that the deficit is that it's not going to add to the deficit, but he's a liar. Well, at the bottom, I think there's a really good chart. I skimmed through this, but I think there's a really good one here at the end. Stick with me, because it's going to be great. This package adds to our national debt in a way that dwarfs any of the other packages passed in the 8 years since Mr. Trump first took office. His signature 2017 tax cut added a relatively modest $1.5 trillion to the 10-year deficit projection, but it did so by scheduling some of the provisions to expire after 8 years. And this is the trick. This is the trick that Republicans play. They're going to play it with this one too. Some of its provisions to expire after 8 years. This is the conniving, evil policy trick, the political trick that they play. The worst of it happens after an election where the Dems are expected to win. We are expecting the Dems to do well in the midterms this year. That's in 2026. We are expecting that. Why do we expect that? Because of trends in the past, and usually the president who is elected loses the midterms. This is a common thing that has happened many, many, many times. And so we are kind of expecting that. Even Donald Trump's first administration had the blue wave, the midterms that were in the middle of his first administration, and the Dems took more seats than they lost, and the Republicans lost seats. This is common. This happened to Obama. This happened to Biden. This happened to George W. Bush. This happens all the time. We expect this. And the Republicans know this, so they plan the worst parts of they know their bill sucks, and so they schedule the suck to happen after the Dems win, so they can blame them. This is part of the plan. If the Dems win, and then this bill sucks, Republicans point to it and say, hey, why did you do that? Hey, why did you cut Medicare? Donald Trump is going to look into the camera and tell you that the Dems who got elected yesterday cut Medicare. Can't possibly happen. Couldn't possibly have happened. But the normies in the middle are going to believe it and hear it because all the media is right wing. Almost all the media is right wing.
It's all right. This isn't Trump's first rodeo. He'll just have the USA declare bankruptcy.
Yeah, he will. And that might happen, and it will be a bad time. That's not an impossible thing. So these are just percentages. The defense spending as a percentage, and then the interest on the national debt has gone way up. And this is complicated shit. This one is important. One big borrowing bill. So we are borrowing more and more and more and more and more, and we're never paying it back. We're never paying it back. God, no. We're not paying that shit back. We're just going to borrow until, as Melcidian said, we declare bankruptcy and everybody suffers. But don't worry, Donnie and his friends made as much as they could. And then when the economy collapses, the value of lots of things will go down. Those rich people that Donnie paid and all his friends are going to buy up they're going to buy the bounce, you know? They're going to buy the dip is what they're going to do. They're going to buy the dip and then ride the bounce. They're going to buy up all these companies, all these things that have failed for very cheap. And then when a Democrat comes in and reins in all the things and puts everything back where it belongs, the economy will improve and they will own those things that are now valuable. Johnny's manipulating the entire American economy so that he and his wealthy friends can buy the dip. That's the entire reason for all of these things. The more you make, the more you benefit from this bill. The bill's impact on household finances and income quintile.
Trump is flipping the country like it's a property.
Yeah, he is. He's going to slap a fake coat of paint on it and then sell it for more than it's worth. And then somebody's going to buy it, and the Dems are going to walk into the place and they'll be in charge, and it's going to be held together with silly putty, and they're going to have to fix it. The bottom 20% of American households are going to suffer because of this bill. The bottom 20%, the poorest among us, will pay more.
Romney Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. So the poorest are going to pay more.
Voice, this bad boy can fit so many crimes against humanity.
That's true. That's a pretty good meme. If you made that, if you went to meme generator, I'd put it on the start screen. You know, the little start screen? That one right there? I'd put it on there if you made it. Let's see. So yeah, the poorest are going to pay the most. The middle class are going to be pretty much the same. So if you're in the 20 to 40, you're pretty much the same. If you're in the 40 to 60, you're going to get a little bit of a benefit. 60 to 80, where the real wealth exists, you're going to get much better. And then the top 20%, where the really, really wealthy people are going to be absolutely making way more than they were before. And what will the wealthy do with that money? The Republicans will tell you that those are job creators. That's what they do. They're job creators. They will use all that money they have to hire people to work. Nope. They will do stock buybacks. They will increase their portfolio. They will give bigger, grander golden parachutes to their CEOs. They will not hire more people. The only reason to hire more people is an increase in demand. Do you know what causes an increase in demand? Poor people having money. The wealth, the masses having money creates demand because they want to use that money on stuff and things and goods and services. This is Reagan-style trickle-down economics, and that doesn't work. We've known it doesn't work for a very long time, but the rich people tell you that it does work because they want more money. We could fix these problems. We could...
Unlike the rich who just hoard it like life score.
Exactly. They hoard it. They keep it for themselves. They do not let it go back into circulation. They sleep on top of it. Like dragons. Everybody knows this. The wealthy are Smaug. They do sleep on top of a pile of gold. They will never be satisfied. They can never have enough. If you are a billionaire already, you got that way because you will not accept enough. They cannot be sated. They cannot be fulfilled. They want more. They want more. And you are going to pay for it. If they want more money, you're going to pay it. And they own the government. The only thing that can stop a billionaire from stealing is a government. But we don't have one of those right now. We have a kleptocracy. We have Donald Trump, who's on board with the billionaires, stealing everything he can. Everything he can, he takes. Because he's on their team, not yours. This legislation will be far more beneficial for the wealthiest. Yep. Now, this is the one that I liked. This is fantastic. This is the good one. This is the best one. I hope you stuck around for this one. This is a good one. The White House predicts much more growth from this bill than other models. So what the hell are we looking at? The Tax Foundation, the orange line here, has said this is how much growth the American economy will have, 1%. The Congressional Budget Office said there will be a little less than 1, and then it will go back to normal. The Penn-Wharton model puts it here. The Tax Policy Center puts it here. And Yale has said we're actually going to go down in growth. We're going to be in a recession. That's what Yale says. The White House, the White House Council of Economic Advisors, who are probably just a bunch of dipshits that say nice things to Donald Trump. I'm going to Google them. I have not done this, but I suspect that these people are absolute morons. Complete idiots who don't know what they're talking about and are probably podcasters. Anybody who looks into a camera and tells you how they feel is a moron, myself included, I agree. But I am also not in the White House Council of Economic Advisors. They are projecting gigantic, monstrous nightmare growth. This is the horseshit that Donald Trump is selling this bill on. He has invented a magical we're going to win the lottery scenario to pay for the deficit. So when Donald Trump tells you, he has many times looked into the camera and said, this doesn't add to the deficit because of this gigantic growth right here. This gigantic blue line is the reason it's not going to add to the
Any
deficit.
information that comes out of the White House needs to be scrutinized as though it were the Ministry of Truth.
And that's what you're looking at, the Ministry of Truth's projection for the economy. But the Ministry of Truth lies all the time. They make shit up. Have you ever gotten high with your friends and then talked about what you would do if you won the lottery? It's a fun little human thing to do. I've done it. You get on your favorite substance. You just wax poetic about what you would do if and when you win the lottery. It's going to be great. You're going to pay off your house. You're going to give this to your mom. You're going to walk out of your job. You're going to give them the middle finger. You're going to put it all in this one stock and then just live off the dividends for the rest of your life. And you're going to go to Fiji. You're going to do all these fun things. That's what you're looking at with this blue line right here. This is Donald Trump's imaginary, we won the lottery, so we're going to do all these great things. That's what he's doing here. This is impossible. It will not happen. I know it. You know it.
Uploading meme to server.
Fantastic. The Tax Foundation knows it's not going to happen. The CBO knows it's not going to happen. Penn-Wharton knows it's not going to happen. The Policy Center knows it's not going to happen. Yale knows it's not going to happen. But Donald Trump is selling you this imaginary, magical plan. It's literally just magic thinking. If you and I
For my next job, I'll just ask to be paid only a penny, but doubled every day for a month.
Well, there's math involved with that. This isn't math. The imaginary we just won the lottery scenario that Donald Trump is talking about doesn't have math involved. It's just imaginary. It's just his feelings. It's just his wishful daydream thinking, his believing. If we go back to that analogy of us sitting around getting high and talking about what we would do if we won the lottery, and then we took that information, all of that stuff that we talked about, you and me, Mouse City, we got high, we talked about what we would do, and then we went and made purchases based on that discussion. If we went and made car purchases, house purchases, stock purchases, because we knew we were going to win the lottery, that would be a mistake. And that is what Donald Trump is doing. He has told you, promised you that he's going to win the lottery tomorrow. So we're going to spend like we're rich today. And he calls that an economic plan.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
That's why I don't trust economists. I complain about the economy all the time because it's a big part of politics. But the person I trust the least to discuss the economy is an economist. That's the last person you should listen to. They have interest in it going a certain way. They own stocks. They want those stocks to move up so that they are more wealthy. And they will say anything they can to make that happen. It doesn't make any sense to trust an economist. No, you should never trust any economist. What else we got? So we're done with that. Is there any more charts? No, that's all the charts. Okay, so yeah, that's where the big busted bill is going to hurt you. It is not going to make you better. It's not going to make us more rich. It's going to hurt the economy. It's going to hurt immigrants because there's so much more ICE spending. It's going to make everything worse in the year 2027. Sorry. Those Medicaid cuts aren't happening tomorrow. They're happening after the midterms. So that Donald Trump can blame the Dems, who probably will have a big blue wave. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can educate the people, maybe. The people don't care. The people don't listen. The people don't operate off of facts, logic, and intelligent thought and debate. No, they operate off of memes. So we have to meme our way into power, apparently. It's going to be a bad time because the left doesn't know how to meme.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.